is great. I mean, people showed up. This is great. It's a good start. Yeah, this is the first. This is the first book tour. This is the first stop. It's like a premiere. This is great. So, this is a historic thing for me. I mean, this is the first book that I've written, and so it's just it's so cool that everybody came out to share that with me. This is really, really awesome. So I'm really proud of this book. Man, like every drop of my heart and soul is in this book. When I got the call from Simon & Schuster saying that they wanted to write, they wanted someone to write the cutting edge book of men's fitness. What came to mind first was kind of like some of these cheesy male celebrity books that I've seen that I was embarrassed to have on my coffee table, and I'm not going to bring up any names of who they are. I own them, but I hide them when people come over. And I wanted to make something that a guy would be proud of, having face up on the coffee table. I wanted to make something that felt like, like someone went through an old chest and found some tome written by Leonardo da Vinci about how the body works, and this is what we know. And I wanted it to have that feel. And there's definitely a combination in it of over 2 decades worth of, blood, sweat, and tears. As you will see when you open the book to one of the first pages, my before picture, where I'm built like that. And no matter what I did for years, I just couldn't put on weight. I couldn't build the physique that I wanted when I opened up those comic books, or when I went to the movies and saw those movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It wasn't happening for me no matter what I did, and it was incredibly discouraging. And one of the first chapters in the book, I talk about failure, and I talk about how it was a necessary part of my DNA. I needed to fail, and I needed to get embarrassed, and I needed to get angry about it. And the result was, more than 2 decades searching out the greatest trainers on the planet. And what you have and will have in your hands, or have in your hands already, I see, is the sum total of everything that I found. And it's the truth. I don't work in fitness. I don't make my money in fitness. And the really appealing thing, and what Simon & Schuster was so great about letting me do was to tell the truth. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there in the fitness world. There's a lot of theories and ideas that float around from people who just want your money. And they just want to put their hand in your pocket, and they want to keep giving you the new thing, this newfangled piece of equipment that's going to get you there. And you watch those late night infomercials, and it's just a bunch of people whose physiques were obviously not built by those products demonstrating these pieces of junk. And not to say some of them work, and some of them are okay here and there, but they're not the total picture. And what's in that book is how you do it. I've never touched a steroid. I've never touched a human growth hormone. I've done this completely clean. And this is what works. Nice. And no judgment on anybody that does. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love professional sports, and as we all know, God knows what everybody is on these days. But I'm not. It's not a judgment on anyone else. It's just the kind of life experience that I had. I hope that someday I would be in a position to show people how it was done the right way, or how it was done in the clean way. I shouldn't say the right way, the clean way. And these workouts, those 6 weeks of workouts that you find in chapter 6. Those are the 6 weeks of workouts exactly that I did to get camera ready for my first shirtless scene in True Blood in season 3. As designed by my trainer Ron Matthews, who is the greatest trainer in the world. And he designed this workout, and what it is, it's a combination of everything that we knew and forgot about, whether it was the old strongman techniques to the 1950s Russian power lifters, plus what we know about diet, nutrition, and some of the machines that I believe work. And it's all of those techniques, plus the diet, the cardio. It's got everything. So everything you need is there. And I just want to say this, and I'll open it up for questions. What I'm asking for with this book is the hopes that not that everybody does their best. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for you to believe that there's a place beyond that you can go to where the real results lie. I want you to get to a place like I did. I tried to get into the best shape that I could. But what I did was I found that I wound up working harder than I ever thought possible. And the results were better than I ever thought possible. I never thought in a million years I'd be standing here at a podium talking about my first book. You know, and you know, the fact is, and this is like that number 359 that's in that chapter, and you'll read that chapter and you'll understand what that means to me, but it's about taking a dream that's impossible, breaking it into small, digestible pieces, and just accomplishing, just beating each one of those pieces repeatedly, you know, one after another, taking those steps, and before you know it, you're somewhere you never thought was possible. And so with that, I mean, here I am, somewhere I never thought was possible, launching my first book. So I'll open it up to questions, but thank you all for being here.
I just have to say, I only read up to the 360, whatever.
359.
359, 369, 359, and I came here because my daughter's in love with you, and she's in college.
Where's she?
She's in college, so if
All
you
right.
could say hi, Jacqueline, that would be great.
In the phone right
In
now?
the phone,
Are
yes.
you recording right now?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Jacqueline.
So this is her Christmas present.
Okay.
But, you know, in reading the beginning, I just thought it was so great about how you use failure as fuel. And how, you know, I think you just really hit the nail on the head with the problems with today is that, you know, we don't want our kids to fail, whereas we're constantly encouraging them, but how do you use that? And I find the book very intriguing, so I'll probably read it before I give it to her, but
Good, all right.
I think it was great how you're using back to basics.
Oh, thanks. Thank
So-
you. Yeah, I mean, the book says everything that I want to say, you know,
Yeah.
and it's the fitness book that I always wanted to read.
Yeah.
And just because of the timing, I was just lucky enough that I got to be the one that said all of this stuff that, you know, I wanted said.
Right.
So
That's
thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, where did your motivation come from? Did it come from doing your first movie or that first scene with your shirt off? I mean, that seems to be the hard. I mean, for someone who doesn't work in theater, you get home from work and you're exhausted and you just want to sit on the couch. Where do you find the desire to get up and do it again and work out?
Well, I think the question was, where do I find the motivation to, I guess, work out as hard or train as hard, or as consistently, I should say. You know, as you'll find in the book, I had some pretty serious obstacles in the way as a kid. You know, I talk about this in the book, and I've talked about it publicly. You know, I just turned 11 years sober in August, and that was a big. You know, and you know what I want to say about that is that, you know, I'm pretty sure I was just wired that way. You know, I was just born that way. I was born with a predisposition, and as soon as I found it, it was off to the races. And I had my career taken away from me. I had my car taken away from me. I had my apartment taken away from me. The sheriffs knocked on the door and gave me 5 minutes to collect my things before they changed the locks, and everything I owned was inside of there, and I lost it all. You know, my career I was never going to work as an actor again. So I felt that. And once again, like, that's that failure thing. And not that I would ever wish that on anybody, but I know what it was like to have my dreams taken away. And I always said if I ever got another shot at it, that I would, like, just out of sheer gratitude, I would do the best that I could. And what wound up happening was that there was this kind of like extra gear that I found. And it wasn't just the best that I could, it was like way beyond that. And so I think there was something, you know, just the gratitude of having that type of an opportunity. And I think it comes from gratitude, you know? It's you know, we all have like chances in life, and I got a second chance. And I think that's a lot of where the motivation comes from. It was just, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. And a lot of it also is to please the little kid inside of me. I used to read comic books when I was a kid, and it bummed me out when I'd see comic book movies and go, you know, hold the magazine up there, the comic book up to the screen and go, he's not built like that. Why do some push-ups or something, man? You know, come on. And so I think there's an amount of it that the little kid in me wanted to see a supernatural character built the way that I think a supernatural character should be built. And that was a big motivation as well. Well, yeah, the question is how many calories do I eat daily, and what's like a breakdown of my diet, like protein versus carbohydrates, when I'm in training. Okay. I've never counted calories in my life, actually. So, And that's something else that I talk about in the book as well. As far as diet goes, you know, there's a lot of really complex diet programs out there. You know, I relate it to math. You know, in high school, I was in advanced calculus. In my daily life, I haven't used advanced calculus since those classes. I don't know what the hell it has anything to do with in reality. I don't even think it has. I think it's about theory, and it's just. I use like simple addition and subtraction and can get through my life on a daily basis, and I think that that's pretty much like the case for everybody. So I think the same relates to diet. It's like, don't make it complex. Make it really simple. And my diet chapter is very simple. You know, I have like a sample, kind of what I eat, and it's all designed to raise the metabolism, to train your body not to store anything, to know it's going to get fed with clean foods, that like protein, that are going to burn quickly. So it's basically like I have a fire inside of me, like this train engine, and I'm constantly throwing paper on it. Not long, slow-burning wood, just paper that'll keep burning, and I keep training it to just burn through that paper. Well, I don't hold anything on. Now that in conjunction with a cardio program that is strategically placed to raise the metabolism in the best way possible, most advantageous way possible, which I talk about in one of the chapters, that's gonna, you know, and so to answer your question, the final part of your question, when I'm in training, it's like protein, 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 like often, like every couple hours. And I try to develop this feel with my body where I understand it's hungry, I understand what's going on, rather than, well, I need to stuff down more food, or I need to, you know, like, I've gotten to a point where I can hear my body, there's a connection, and that's, you know, a big part of you know, a big part of what I talk about in the book. Two more questions. Okay, great, yes, you're right there.
What's your favorite body part to train?
My agent has made a face. Well, I will say, I'll say this, and this. I mean, I guess this is like the creative answer or whatever, but you know, the majority of the book talks about or deals with the very often not talked about public enemy number one to achieving, whether it's fitness or just in life in general, goals, whatever, which is the mind. The mind is the big, I mean, you can teach anybody to pick up a Campbell's soup can and go like this. Do that 10 times. Okay, put it down. Do it again 10 times. But it's, why don't people achieve their goals? Why can't they stick with it? You know, what are these blocks that, you know, fear and these blocks take the form of, you know, it's like water. It takes the form of whatever it's in. And I talk in the book about all of these different blocks that I had along the way mentally. So to me, at this point in time, I mean, it's, and even from the beginning, it was about training the mind not to quit. It was about training the mind to show up. It was about training the mind to push forward. There's a story I talk about in the book where, you know, someone asked Muhammad Ali how many push-ups he could do in an interview. Just like, you know, champion of the world. How many push-ups can you do? He said 8 or 9. They went, okay, I just saw you knock that guy. Like, please, you know, 8 or 9. Like, what are you talking to me? He said, I do as many as I can. Then I do about 8 or 9, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, so I would say that at this point, it's the mind. It's getting into the place that the Marines call the suck. Like, this sucks. I want to quit. Everything in me is screaming, but yet I keep pushing through it. You know, that's the stuff that I'm into now. So, you had a question in the front?
Do you do like half set, whole set?
Half set, whole set?
Yeah, when you're any kind of workouts like that?
Like in what way?
Like full way up and then half?
Oh, and then half? Yeah, there's an exercise in the book that in those first 6 weeks of workout where they're called triple curls, where it's like, kind of like a 3-part curl.
Yes.
So there's some of that. I mean, I think, yeah, some of that with biceps, I think definitely, as far as the workouts, the evolution workouts go. So there's a bit of that in there, but I mean, everything goes in the pretty detailed description of all of the exercises and the day by day. I mean, it's really pretty easy to follow. It's just like laid out for you, like step by step.
Okay,
So.
and legs and try.
Mm-hmm.
I always think legs are like one day. You do just do legs.
Well, the workouts that I use to train for True Blood for evolution, it's 6 days a week. The body is split into 3 parts. So 3 days.
Okay.
So there's, each day 2 parts are worked. Because there's a push and a pull motion.
Okay.
You wanna match pulls with pushes. There's a way to strategically burn out certain parts of the body and then follow that up immediately without rest into another exercise that compounds the burn, the amount of muscle fibers you're going to use and the types of muscle fibers you're going to use. So everything in there is very strategically, like scientifically laid out and broken down into, like I said, it's, you know, the full body gets worked in 3 days and then you repeat that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's all,
All right, I'll
it's
follow
all in there. Yeah, it's all. Is that it? Okay. That's it for questions. But then,
Show and tell.
now we signed up. I asked you to get asked that. Okay, how do I do this?
So we're gonna go upstairs now.
Okay, we're going upstairs.
Thank you, everybody. We're now going to take the A's down at the bottom of the kids' stairs. Thank you.